Hey guys, it's Miss Emily. I'm here with Kaylee. We're gonna do some recreational hair. We're gonna do a ballet bun today, okay? So you wanna make sure she has a lot of hair. It's very long. So you wanna make sure that it's nice and brushed out first to start with. So your child, if they are old enough to brush their hair, they can do it themselves. If they are younger, then just make sure it's brushed out so that it makes the process easier. If there are kind of knots or tangles in it when you start, then it's gonna make it harder to get it smooth and for it to look nice and, I won't say professional because we're obviously not professional dancers, but for it to look nice and presentable, right? So just make sure it's nice and smooth. And then you wanna take some sort of like a comb, like this is just a wide tooth comb. And we're gonna take the end right here and we're gonna part her hair down the middle. So look up for me, and I'm just standing behind her. And I'm gonna use her nose as a guide and part right down the middle until I get to the back of her head, okay? And then just let that hair lay over to the side. And if it's a little off, you can adjust, you can do it again. Or if it looks good, then you can go ahead and move on. I'm just gonna do a little bit again, okay? So now we have a nice straight part. And I'm just gonna brush that hair down that I just moved over because it didn't used to be there. So I kind of need to pull it over and train it. So will you turn your head to the camera now and look down for me? So you can see that's just going straight down the middle of her head, okay? And then look up for me. Yep. So I'm gonna take some hairspray, and you can use gel if you have gel, something clear, but I'm gonna just kind of spray around her face to get all of these little baby hairs, okay? And you can use your hand to shield their eyes. So I'm gonna put my hand over her forehead so that it's not spraying into her face. And then I'm gonna actually get close so that, again, there's not a lot of spray going anywhere other than just where I want it. So I'm just spraying right here by her part that I just made. And then I'm gonna use the brush to just smooth all that down so that it's not going to get messed up when I'm working on the other stuff. If you have a nice, like a boar bristle brush or something with like really close together bristles, those are really nice for getting the hair nice and smooth. You could also use something that has a little bit closer bristles like this and smooth it down that way. But we're just gonna do that, okay? And then I have the ponytail holder on my wrist already. So whenever I go and I get her hair in the ponytail that I like and it's nice and smooth, I can just hold it with this hand and pull it right off and immediately wrap it around her hair, okay? So I'm gonna pull her hair down at the base of her neck, okay? So it should be below her ears. It's not up here. It's not super high up. It should be at the base of her neck, like right where her hairline stops and meets her neck. So I'm just gonna use the brush and I'm gonna brush all around. And right now I'm using my left hand that does not have the ponytail holder on it, but I'm gonna switch it here in a second, okay? And then if you see that there are extra flyaways, use the hairspray again. So she has some around her ear too. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna make my shield with my hand and then just spray by her ear so that I'm not spraying her face. And then I'm gonna use the brush to smooth all those little hairs back, okay? You can also run your hand over it afterwards. So after you brush, you can kind of use your hand to smooth it down too. And I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, by this ear. I'm making my shield and then just spray right there. And I might get in, some ears. You can have a little rag or a Q-tip or something ready if they need to clean it out. Okay, so all of that's nice and good. And then I'm gonna work on the ponytail. So I'm getting it all nice and smooth. And you can also do this with wet hair. So if you just wanna wet the hair with some water, that works really well too. And I'm always keeping the spray close to her head so that I'm not like spraying it in her eyes and giving her, trauma. You don't want your kids to be afraid of getting their hair done. Okay, so I'm just going all around. And if you have kids that are tender-headed, you just need to tell them they have to deal with it, or else you need to try to be super gentle with them. Okay, I'm just gonna tighten up my hand a little bit. And it's still nice and smooth. okay? And if I had that, like that boar bristle brush like I was talking about, I could get it even a little bit smoother, but I can't really get it much smoother with this brush right now, which is fine. So I'm just gonna make sure that I'm holding it in the center of her head. Can you turn your head to the right? So I'm putting it right in the center of her head. Okay, go back to the front for me. And then I'm holding it and pulling that not rubber band, but ponytail holder off my hand. And I'm holding it with my hand still while I pull the rest of her hair through. So I'm not like letting go. I'm still holding all of this hair in the same position. And then I'm gonna wrap it around, still holding the ponytail. I have it completely wrapped. So now that I have it wrapped, I'm gonna let go. Okay, so I'm gonna show you that again. So you have it wrapped on your wrist. I have all of this smooth. I'm holding it tight. I'm pulling it over. I'm gonna still hold it with my right hand. I'm pulling all of that hair through, and then I'm grabbing that band, wrapping it around, okay? And then my right hand's gonna release. But before my right hand releases, I'm gonna grab it with my left hand. So I'm not gonna completely let go. I'm still holding it, but I'm gonna wrap it with the left hand so that it's not just flying out in nowhere. So again, I'm pulling all of that hair through, and then wrap it, pull all the hair through, grab the band, wrap it, pull all the hair through. Okay, and if you have a child with like shorter hair or thinner hair, or like really fine hair, you can use smaller ponytail holders. So you can use like the skinny elastic ones, or you could even use the little like rubber elastic ones. Those are a little bit harder on hair. Like they tend to kind of make your hair rip a little bit. So I try not to use those very much, but they are good if you have like really fine baby hair still. Okay, so all of this is in the ponytail. Okay, I'm just gonna go through real quick and spray and kind of run my hand down it and smooth out any of those little hairs that are flying away. Okay, and I'm going around her ear again with those hairs. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the bun, and I'm gonna take this hair. Since she has a lot of hair, I'm gonna do a lot of rotations when I wrap it, but if you have less hair, then you're gonna wrap less times. If you have these types of bobby pins, you're gonna probably end up using more of them because they tend to not hold like thick hair really well. They hold fine hair just fine. But if you have like thick, coarse hair, you're probably gonna need a lot of them. If you do have that thick, coarse hair, then you can get some at Sally's that are really strong and don't fall out, and just reuse them over and over again. And you'll have them for 20 years. Okay, so I'm just wrapping her hair in a little wrap to the right. Okay, and then I have put like bobby pins in my fingers here ready to use. So as I'm wrapping it, okay, and it starts to get tighter, it's gonna start to kind of curl up on its own. Okay, so if I'm holding it and I wrap it and I just kind of push it in a little bit, I should see that it's already starting to make like that kind of donut shape on its own. So I'm gonna just continue that. I'm gonna wrap it really tight, and then once it starts to wrap, I'm pushing it into her head, and I'm gonna use the bobby pins to pin it in place. Okay, so I'm gonna get a pin ready, and then a lot of hair. Okay, so I'm wrapping it, and then pushing it in, and I'm gonna pin it to her head. I'm not gonna bite these bobby pins because this is not my child, and these are not my bobby pins. But I would normally like bite them, pull them apart with my teeth, and then hold it open with my fingers so that I can get it in there really good and make sure that I'm pinning both sides of hair. So when I put the bobby pin in, I'm pinning part of the bobby pin in the bun, and then the other half of the bobby pin is going in her head. Okay, and I'm doing a few here, so I'm grabbing part of the bun and then pushing the other side into her head here. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing and keep moving it around. Okay, will you go ahead and rotate and face the back for me? Okay, And then look down just a little bit. Good. All right, so I have that shape started. So I have a pin here, here, and here. And I'm gonna keep doing that same thing, continuing to twist and then pushing it onto her head. And then as I get lower, like I need to lower my body so that I can get on the same level as what I'm looking at. And putting half of the bobby pin in her bun, half of the bobby pin in her hair. Okay. And again, if you have a child that has a lot of hair, you're gonna need to use a lot of bobby pins. Okay, and the good thing about bobby pins is that you can reuse them unless they get sprung, which means that they just open up and they stay open all the time. But you can pull them out and just use them again the next time. Okay, look down all the way for me, like as far down as you can. So when she gets all the way down here, I'm wrapping it under. So you can see it's wrapped under, and then, not that far, come up a little bit. And then, try not to put my arm in the way. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. Half of the bobby pin goes in the bun, half of the bobby pin goes in the head, okay? So, down here. And then I'm still working my way around. I'm putting a pin I'd say every like inch, half an inch or so that it stays. And it's not gonna fall out while she's dancing or moving around or flipping or whatever it is that she's doing. Okay, look up just a little bit for me. There you go. So half of the pin in the bun, half of the pin in the hair. Can you hold these bobby pins for me? Thank you. And then when I need some in a minute, can you hand one to me? Mm-hmm. Okay. So just continuing to twist, making sure that it is staying tight. Okay, I don't want it to be loose or else all that hair is gonna come apart and it's just gonna be like flapping in the wind. So we want to stay a nice, tight coil. And then if it starts, like she has long hair, so I'm gonna just kind of hold this and brush out a little bit here so that it's not tangled or anything like that. So I don't want it to be tangled when she takes it out, and then I also don't want it to be tangled when I put the bun in because it's not gonna look as good. Another one. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm just making kind of like a little cinnamon roll with her hair. Like I said, because she has a lot of hair, it's going to be a big cinnamon roll. But it's not just going to look like a big knot of hair on her head. It would be easier if I was biting the body heads. Okay. All right, one more. Can you put your head up for me again? So you can see that kind of swirl that starts in the middle and is going around. And I have about this much hair left still. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep twisting it. You can twist it all at once, or you can just twist it as you go. If you twist it as you go, sometimes it tends to get a little bit crazy, and then you need to like brush it out and things like that. Okay, look down for me again. I'm gonna skip the bottom for right now, and I'm gonna come back and put the pins there in just a minute. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up this end, this little tail of hair that she has. And I'm gonna pin that so that I don't have to hold it anymore. And I'm just pinning that all the way around, so look up for me. So I still have a little bit of hair right here, and I'm just pinning that all the way until it runs out, okay? And then once it runs out, I'm gonna go back, add an extra pins, because remember, I don't want it to fall out. So I'm grabbing part of the bun, part of the hair, part of the bun, part of the, and when I say the hair, I mean the head. The hair that's on top of the head right there. Okay, now look down for me. I'm gonna go back in with the pins on the bottom. So I'm gonna get down here, and do there. Okay. Okay, and you don't want to do your bun and then have it fall out, 10 minutes later or 30 minutes later. So put a ton of bobby pins in and make sure that it's gonna stay. That way you don't have to do it again. You didn't waste your time the first time around, okay? All right, so that's a good amount right now. You can see that the bun, if you turn back to the side again for me, it's not like way off her head back here. It's just nice and flat up against her head. And there's obviously, it's gonna come out some, but it's not crazy looking, alien looking, okay? So then I'm gonna take the hairnet, and we wanna use hairnets that match our hair color. So they make blonde, black, brown, red. Usually they come in like a pack of 2 or 3. And you can get them at Walmart, you can get them at Sally's, you can get them at Target, you can get them at Meijer, you can get them wherever, Walgreens. I'm gonna do the same kind of like wrapping around motion. So when I was twisting to the right, and then I was wrapping clockwise. I'm gonna wrap the bun hairnet clockwise also. So I'm gonna kind of start on the side, and then I'm gonna pull it up and around, so that all of those hairs are all like being pushed the same direction as what the bun is going. Okay, so then I'm just going to pull it tight, and then I'm crossing it over just like a ponytail holder would be. Okay, and then I'm wrapping it around to the right again, and then crossing it over just like the ponytail holder. Okay, wrapping it around to the right. And then if we have extra space, so she has about this much extra, that's not enough to go around another time. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of gather that up and twist it like the bun, okay? And then I'm gonna use a bobby pin to pin that down so that it's not sticking out and looking crazy. And it's like, oh hey, there's your hairnet, it's sticking off her head, okay? I have a little extra little nugget right there, so I'm gonna do the same thing again. So pull that over to the side just like I did with her hair. I'm gonna pin it until you get all the way to the end, okay? All right, and then any bobby pins that start to slide out, so some of them are just kind of sliding out, I just kind of tuck those back in and make sure that nothing's going anywhere. And then if you have a little adjustment, it helps if you put the bobby pins, the hairnet over the bobby pin. So the bobby pin's like this, and then your hairnet goes behind it. So it kind of is like holding it in place, and it's not gonna slide off, okay? So yeah, so that's it. Will you turn around to the back for me again? And then I'm gonna get a little bit closer so we can see. Okay, and look down for me. And then can you look to the left and the other way? Yep. All right, perfect. Thank you. Let us know if you all have any questions.